stick's more sensitive because the response is faster, right? Because you've only got so much travel in the stick.
Right.
If the track speed's all the way up and the cat can go 12 miles an hour, then from neutral to all the way forward, you're controlling 0 to 12 miles an hour.
Right.
If you dial back the track speed, say to 5, now that same amount of travel on the sticks is controlling only from 0 to 5 instead of 0 to 12.
Okay, yeah, that's what was happening because they dial that down and then, you'd be pushing and all of a sudden you went turning to fit through that tight speed and then all of a sudden they'd hit to where it was and then they wasn't ready for it because they'd been all night long. And I didn't do much in the 350, so I was a 275. We was both 275. Now we're going to both beat the Husky. Okay, so once you do that and you set your speed, then you can play with your blade and everything.
And so pushing that forward so the tiller comes up white. So now the hydraulics are active. The only thing that turns the hydraulics off is either opening the door or pushing the switch back the other way. Okay, the parking brake is not connected to the hydraulics, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Is it just opening the door? What about the
armrest? If the armrest comes up and the brake isn't on, it will set the brake.
Okay.
But it doesn't affect the hydraulics. It's just opening the door. Yep. So right now, you have got joystick control for the blade.
Okay.
Okay. And some of the basic functions are the same as the 350 or the 275. So the bottom button is your blade wings. And then instead of the thumb switch to control the curl and the swing of the blade, it's on this joystick, it's your trigger finger.
Okay. So that one's the bottom one is the wings.
Yep.
And then with no button, it's just up and down with the blade.
Right. And the tilt side to side.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And then that gives you, okay.
I did notice, does it have a serrated edge on the bottom of the blade?
Like underneath?
Yeah. Or is it just flat?
No, it's got teeth.
Okay.
It's got teeth, yep.
Okay. Because we use that a fair amount when these trails start getting compacted or you get these, the high pressure.
Yep.
Sitting to start breaking the surface up.
Oh, yeah.
Before the bar is.
Yep. That's it for the blade. It's just those two buttons.
Yeah.
Everything else on that joystick is for the tiller.
Right. Well, you've got your classics, depth of your tiller, rear view camera, tiller on and off.
Yep.
Tiller speed.
Maybe.
Yeah.
If it's set up that way. That you can change. Okay, so your classic tiller speed is here. There's a setting in the computer where you can change it from here to here.
Okay, because
so
in the manual,
it depends on how you have it set in the
Okay.
computer for that particular function.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's something that once we get snow, we can figure out, or we can look into the computer to see what that's at.
Yeah. So we can, we can put it down.
It is. Doesn't it smell new?
Yeah.
Huh? Doesn't it smell new?
Yeah, so these are your track pads.
Yeah.
This is your up and down pressure.
Yes.
right? On this, so this gauge here is for your up and down pressure. So it defaults to 75% or 70% down pressure. This tiller likes down pressure.
Yeah.
This tiller, unlike the other ones that you have, there's no snow chamber. So on the other tiller, you've got the flag.
Yeah,
that goes
we
up and
never
down.
Seemed to really notice any different. In fact, on the 275, we didn't have it because we bought a newer tiller to put on, and it wasn't.
Oh, okay. Because
It didn't work.
yeah, because essentially on the back of that tiller, you've got your cutter bar here, and you've got the rubber
Right.
matting that comes down. So when the flag goes back, it actually puts the rubber into like a concave shape. So it opens up an area behind the cutter bar.
Uh-huh.
And when the flag's up, it closes it. So in theory, when it's like this, you're carrying more snow and processing more snow in the tiller. This tiller doesn't have that. So in order to help this tiller carry and process snow, you use down pressure.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So when you first start the cat and start going, as soon as you drop the tiller, it's going to come on at 70% down pressure. I usually try to use as little as I need based on the snow conditions, because the more down pressure you use, the more you're going to compact the surface.
Uh-huh.
And certainly on a ski slope, that's not always what you're trying to do.
Right.
On Nordic trails, yeah, I think you guys are typically going for a more firm surface,
yeah.
right? So you'll probably end up using more down pressure. So the adjustment is on the toggle here, but you can also change that with this button. So if you click it once, it goes into float. Click it again and you got up pressure, and then you can adjust the up pressure on the toggle. The up and down pressure settings are independent of each other, so you can have them set differently and then just use the button
Oh, to change between up
to
and...
cycle between the three.
Okay.
Yep, and again, just depending on snow conditions. And then
And your two
And
wings.
you're referring to the pressure just for the tiller bar, not for the classic pans, correct?
Right.
right,
Is
that's a separate setting
Okay.
for the pans. Yep. And then so these are your wings. One click down, one click up. Okay. I don't know if you get into areas where you would want a wing halfway down, if you were trying to like feather the edge of a berm or something. But if you hold in the blade wing button, then these thumb switches become your wing controls, and you
Okay.
can put them part way down
Oh, yeah.
or
Yeah.
part way up.
Because you had removed the wings on the 275, right?
No, the 275 never had them.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the 350, we removed them
Yeah.
because he was so wide, he was tearing. We ended up tearing them, so it was easier just to cut them off.
Gotcha.
And then when we bought the new tiller, or the tiller for the 275, it had wings on it, but the outfit we bought it from had taken them off and sold them separately. So,
Right.
which we didn't have the controls to do it with anyway. So
Yeah.
it didn't,
Yeah, it didn't matter.
It didn't matter to us. We just wanted a better cutting bar than what
Yep.
it wore down. So
Yep. And then this button here is your lateral float. So that will indicate with this squiggle in the middle here. And then the arrows will point, if the tiller's to one side or the other, it will tell you that it's one side or the other. When it's in the center, the arrows point to the center. And then on this cat, like Alan was asking about, I'm pretty sure that when you lift the tiller and put it back, if you lift it in float, when you put it back down, it's still going to be in lateral float. It's not like the 350 where it
right.
locks itself
Yeah,
again.
I think I seen that in the manual, that whatever it was in, when you lift it,
Yeah.
if you've got it locked, when you put it down, it's locked.
Right. So single click puts it in float, and then a double click on that will recenter and lock it. And then you've got
when
your...
you lock it, is it always locked in center, or can you lock it to a side?
So if you want to lock it in place, you take over with the manual steering on the thumb switch.
Okay.
And that will lock it in place. So this one's going to steer the tiller side to side. That only works when the tiller's on the ground. You can't move it side to side when it's up. Also, this one will adjust your depth of cut. And that's the first gauge here. Oh, I was leaning on the stereo. And the depth of cut can also not be adjusted when the tiller is in the air. So the functions for this switch, the tiller has to be on the ground to get those functions.
So, and if, I mean, like when we was talking with Alan, running in 3 or 4 inches of snow, you'd want your depth probably 25% or something.
Yeah, 0, 25.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then this one is the tiller speed.
That's your speed. Right. Yep. And then...
And this is the diameter of the cutting bar is what? Is it about 10 or 12 inches?
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay. But...
You mean like how far is it going to engage in the snow?
Yeah, what if you have it for maximum depth? Is it...
If it's at 100%, how deep is it actually digging?
Depends on the surface of the snow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you're going to be down the teeth at least a couple inches, but if you're running on ice or hard packed stuff,
Right.
you're not going to dig that in. Where if you're running powder, it's going to go.
If you're running powder, you can run the length of the tooth, which is probably roughly 3.5 inches.
Yeah.
So it's really the length of the teeth, not the diameter of the cutting bar itself, which determines the depth.
Yeah.
Okay. And the direction of the cutting bar
is on the keypad.
Okay.
Yep. So if you push it to
And it'll
reverse,
show you up here what
it will indicate here as well. And so when it's in forward, when it's actually spinning, that will turn green. And if you're running it in reverse, that will be orange. That's pretty much, I mean, those are the basics.
Yeah. And these are all your these are your blades and
So this cat actually has a terrain park package in it, so you get inclinometers so that you can see the angle of your blade and the angle that the cat's sitting on from side to side and forward and back.
okay.
Which can actually be really nice if you're trying to, make things level.
Yeah.
Just to have that reference. What else? What do you have questions about?
So then now if I push the park brake off, that would change to an A.
Yeah, but it won't let us come out of park right now because of this. So when we had it revved up before, when I hit the park brake, when you hit the park brake, it will bring it back to idle.
Okay.
But this was still turned up, so you have to zero this to make that go away.
Okay.
And then you can come out of park again.
And then once you're out of parking,
Then you got to push that
push
button.
that one, and then you can set
Then
that.
you can set your hand throttle.
And then you can
And
move.
then you're, yep.
Okay. So on these we don't have to worry about because it doesn't have the
Right. There's
Flex.
no flex. It's just a flat tiller. Then all your lighting's on the top row of the keypad. Okay, there's like multiple lights on each switch. So this is front and rear, kind of like your working lights. So pushing the button will cycle between them. And then if you want to shut them off completely, just hold the button for 3 seconds. So they all work like that. This one's your high and low beam. And then this is a memory switch. So if you want to turn all the lights off, push that, and then if you want them to come on the way you had them set, just push it again. They come back on how you had them set.
Okay.
Wiper, so front and rear. The first time you push this, it'll come on in the time delay.
What do they call it? It's not a wiper. It's a windshield something.
Some of the translations are
I was
interesting.
reading that. I thought, what the hell are they talking about?
Yeah. But so the first time you push it, it comes on in a time delay. The
Okay.
time delay you set in the computer. There's no knob for it anymore. The second time you push it, it'll come on constant. The third time it'll go off. If you want to just sweep the wipers one time, you double click your blade wing button.
Okay.
And then this switch here will select the front, the back, or both for that function.
For that function.
Yep. Electric defrosters, so front and rear, doors and mirrors. When you turn them on the keypad, they actually come on in a time cycle, which again, you can set in the computer what that time cycle is. So depending on weather conditions, it's always good to give the relays a minute or two break every now and then so that they don't cook themselves.
Okay.
Wiper blade heat. So this is the on-off switch. There's a valve under the floorboard. It is engine coolant running through your wiper blade lines. So if you were to snag one of these on a tree branch and pop it off, just make sure you turn off the switch to close the valve so that you're not pumping all your coolant out.
And making a mess of your windshield.
Yeah. Turn signals,
Yeah.
blade float. Is that a function that you guys have?
I've used
Yep.
it quite a bit.
I think. Let's see. Ooh, it's not active. I'll have to see if I can turn that on. Let's see. Password. I'll take a look at that before I leave. See if I can activate that in the computer for you.
Okay.
And then, yeah, then these aren't going to do anything for you.